the meeting of the Audit and Finance. I am subject to before the chair. And so we'll get right into Resolution 1. It's Resolution number 215 on the agenda. Amending the 2019 Albany County Budget Contingency Account Adjustment to make the Albany County rail trail safer. Legislator, go ahead.
Thank you. So this is a contingency item, and it essentially is what I would consider to be a pretty big step forward in assuring the public safety of the rail trail, which is increasingly becoming a jewel of outdoor activity, recreation in Albany County. It runs through the center of my district, from the city of Albany, representing Legislator McKnight's district, and then out to New Scotland. I think it's widely used. I don't know how many of you have been on it, but day, night, every season, the rail trail is enjoyed by many, not just people who live in Bethlehem or New Scotland, or that south end of Albany. There are now parking areas for folks from neighboring communities in the county to come and park their car and spend time on the rail trail. Their restaurants have sprung up all along the rail trail. I think we can only see that more will come. Bethlehem is putting a lot of investment in designing some other additional park mountain biking trails sort of near the rail trail points of departure. So it's obviously been wildly successful. I think the one missing element is a very thoughtful and proactive public safety component. Right now, we're sort of managing with the resources of local EMS and the sheriff's office, but there's really no plan for how you're going to get people out of the rail trail if something happens to them. I don't want to play little scare tactics, but I do think it's a little bit of a ticking time bomb. Somebody is going to get hurt. It's going to be a serious biking or cardiac event at some point on the rail trail. There are parts of the rail trail that are really remote, and if that happens, it's going to be a public safety disaster for that family. I think this is a very innovative, creative response that starts to create a pathway for a public safety plan for the rail trail. It's a proposal for a special ambulance that can actually get in and out of the rail trail in minutes rather than hours, which is what would happen right now. If, God forbid, somebody had a serious biking accident, a compound fracture, a heart attack, any kind of event like that, you would have a hard time, and I'm sure that that person's health and safety would be compromised. This is a creative approach for an ambulance that can get in and out of the rail trail quickly. For those of you who might not be familiar, the Delmar Bethlehem EMS station is literally steps from the rail trail. It's a brand new building that the town is invested in, as well as EMS, and it's a perfect design for this type of ambulance to be situated right there so that it can go. So I respectfully ask for support for what I would consider to be the first public safety investment in a meaningful way in the rail trail that will undoubtedly save lives.
Okay, any questions?
I just want to make a comment that Sheriff Apple has enthusiastically supports this, and I do support it as well.
Any other?
I'm going to support this as well, but I'd like to ask a question. Are we anticipating that there will be an RLA from the sheriff authorizing a contract with the Delmar Bethlehem EMS? Is that the effectuating mechanism?
It's some sort of MOE or something.
MOU?
Or MOU.
Okay.
some kind of arrangement. I know that Bethlehem EMS has been working very, very closely with.
The other question I have is I am not familiar with Bethlehem EMS, but is that staffed by volunteers?
Yeah.
Do they provide ALS service 24 hours a day or basic life support?
Yeah.
No, it's one or the other. ALS means you respond to a cardiac incident within 4 minutes. If you don't respond within 4 minutes, you're not providing ALS service. So for example, if the sheriff were manning this,
Right.
he would have paramedics that would have the ability to respond within 4 minutes. If something happens at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, are there certified paramedics in the Delmar Bethlehem EMS station who can take that vehicle out and respond? I don't know if you know the answer to that.
My understanding is yes, but I will confirm that.
Well, what the only guidance I would like to offer is that you can work something out with the sheriff in your agreement to make the whole purpose of this is to
Yes.
provide rapid ALS service.
Right.
And I know that we have found in our town, many of the fire departments are not even able to muster trucks during the day. And that there are duty stations now. We have, 12 or 13 fire departments? Commissioner? 12.
13 including them.
So there are 3 that actually have staff in them 24 hours a day so that there can be instantaneous response. And I guess what I'm hoping is that if the county is going to fund something like this, it doesn't go someplace where you're going to send out a second and third alarm and be waiting 30 minutes for a paramedic to arrive to take out the new
I will
ambulance.
confirm that, Paul, but my understanding is the answer is yes.
And I am going to support this, but
No, and I'll check on that hopefully before.
there was a huge problem that we experienced across our town in a very growing atmosphere. But I will support this.
Do you have any history on the number of events, medical events that have taken place in the,
No.
about 2-year history of the rail trail?
I asked that question myself, and the answer was no. They are starting to collect data on that, but there's no, I think it's been a hodgepodge up until now, so the answer is no. But I think that we should be collecting data, especially if we're going to have, well, we should be anyway with it being a county resource, but especially on something like this to make sure that we know the use of this. You know. So I asked the same question, and not yet, I guess is the answer.
The reason why I bring the question up is that I'm not sure why this is coming up at this point in time. This really should be a budget item in the budget cycle. It's not really a contingent type of expenditure, and if we have not had, a critical event where this is necessary, this is a nice to have. I think we can wait until the 2020 budget cycle and address it at that point in time, so I will be voting no on this.
Wasn't this part of the budget originally put in the budget and then it was taken out?
I don't know the history of it.
Okay.
No, I mean, I have to say, I sort of have the same feeling about it. I do think the rail trail is one of those things that in the height of the season, we start to realize what we need and what, the challenges are. I contemplated, waiting and to advocate for this until, the later fall into, the budget season, or at least get it going. I honestly, it's not hyperbole to say that this is a little bit of a ticking time bomb. I felt comfortable after, talking with EMS and also, spending time on the rail trail. The summer months, it's a little bit too congested at times, and I think as soon as the warm weather starts, the rail trail becomes a real highway at times, not in a good way. I think I honestly think we need a public safety plan that's not just about an ambulance that can get in and out of there, but perhaps, better signage, perhaps a lot of things that, we should put smart people in a room and talk about. But I don't think we should wait. I think this is an issue. We're going to face something and we're going to say, wow, I'm really glad that we did this then because this saved somebody's life. And I really believe that.
I mean, the other side of that coin, not to be contradictory, but I will be, is if they are developing a plan, the plan might not include this. There may be a different alternative that a group comes together who have the background to do this. It just seems to me that this is an item that I appreciate its importance, but we have lots of areas where you have these types of contingencies that you could put money in, but you just can't spend money everywhere. It seems like this is a reasonable thing. I agree a safety plan should be done, but the safety plan should decide whether this is part of it or not. And then you can put that in the budget. Then you have a complete structure and a complete idea of how to go forward rather than trying to do it piecemeal and then build around it.
I don't want to be argumentative either with my friend who represents my neighboring community. I do think that a plan is a great idea. I'm a planner person. I like things that kind of make sense. I do think any plan, I'm comfortable saying any public safety plan, the centerpiece of it is going to be how you get people out of the rail trail quickly who have a medical or safety event. And that's why I'm comfortable advocating for this, but honestly, I have the same thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
I just want to point out some of the supporting documents went back last year, November 16th. So this is not a new pie in the sky scheme. I think it's a legitimate concern that she has.
I don't think that is pie in the sky. I think that if it was started last year, it would have been better if they would have started the planning process last year. Then we could be sitting here and saying, here's the complete plan
And I
and
think this
all of its
was
composition.
in the budget last fall.
Yes, right?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mr. Mendez, but that being said, we might not know the amount of incidents we had on the rail trail, but you only need one. And I'm reading here that they're using an ATV to pull people out, and if you have a broken bone, that might be okay. It might not be ideal to get bounced around, but if you have a cardiac event, you need someone there, so it only takes one event, and that's my concern. I agree, it should be a part of the budget process, but I think there's something better on this.
Yeah, the other thing I would say, and I don't know how many of you go on the rail trail, but I'm on there a lot. There's a lot of older people that use the rail trail a lot.
Be careful.
What?
Be careful.
No, I mean, there's a lot of, folks that are obviously, senior citizens who, I think this is a smart investment for public safety that, in the unfortunate event, and, like you said, it only takes one time, and then we're all saying, geez, we should have done that. That was an investment that we knew we were going to need. The timing might be a little funky, but I think it's a very wise public safety investment, and I'm pretty confident that any public safety plan for the rail trail is going to have a centerpiece that involves how you get people out of there.
I make a motion to move this.
Okay, motion's made. Can you get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. Two opposed. It's passed. Thank you.
You're not that old.
You don't want to have anything happen.
Okay, Mr. Controller, how are you, sir?
I never had it too good, sir.
Yeah, well, you look it too.
Well, growing on the Hudson River, which I never really thought about how long it would take to get to me, but it's a quick way to be buried if I have a heart attack out there, I guess. An inexpensive way. Committee, I would like to propose that you approve us to do a refunding of two different issues. There was a general obligations issue in 2011, and there is a refunding Series B in 2012. in different issues that we put out, we'll have multiple series because of different uses or different lengths of probable useful life, or even different kinds of sale of maturities. These maturities that are coming up for us in the next 6 years, we can replace those at a lower interest rate and have, as of the 25th anyway, the net savings to the county is about $1.4 million. And that would be essentially $250,000 over the next 5 years and $80,000 the last year.
So,
I can answer any questions.
so the annual savings is $250,000 in debt service?
Roughly.
How many basis points is that, Mike? What are we saving?
Overall, the calculation by the state controller is 3%. We're a little about, I think it's 3.9%. Hold on a second.
No, I mean, what are we going from in an effective rate to what?
Oh, I don't have the existing debt on there.
Well, I mean, obviously,
Lower.
it's lower. Are these going to be competitive bonds?
Yes, we bid everything.
Okay, so,
And obviously, one of the things, the reason we're asking for you to move on Rule 11 is that we don't want to miss the market. There was a potential for us to put the ad out. We talked to the county executive's office about signing quickly. So we have an estoppel period of 20 days where we can't do anything. So we're hoping to sell these in August, so we can take advantage of the lower interest rates that are there. We used the projection of 1.4 million, that there's a safety factor built in that as well.
and that's net after all fees and
Yes, the
issuance
fees are
costs?
included in that. Yes, the 1.4 is net of fees.
Okay, because your competitive is going to include a fee structure pursuant to an RFP that
That's
you're going to put out.
Right.
So the actual effective rate will be determined upon the date
On the
of
market,
issuance,
the day we sell, yes.
based on the
And by the
competitive
way, if the
market.
market turns upside down on it, we won't do this. Obviously, we'd only do this as long as there's a favorable outcome to the county.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ben.
Has there been, actually, the stock market over the last three or 4 days has taken a little bit of a hit because there was a perception that the Fed was going to do 2 rate cuts this year and 2 next year. Now they're a bit more dovish on the rate cuts. When were these estimates effective as of?
24th, 25th of June.
Okay, so they're not exactly today's.
No.
Okay.
With the process, we got that. When we got that process, we went right to the legislature and said, look, we'd like that action at the earliest possible moment. And the meeting, July 8th, is the earliest that can take place. Because the legislature does have to approve us to refund, even though there's a savings involved. We'll be publishing and to cover and dot every I and cross every T, because people that buy these bonds are buying triple tax exempts.
Right.
So we don't want to screw anything up. That's why we want to make sure
You've got 2 issuances here, a refunding and an advance refunding.
that's correct.
There's only one of them, this is the last shot to refund them, right? Isn't there a limit on how many times you can
No, not on
refund?
refunding. Advance refundings have been eliminated. In the budget cleanup bill of, I think it was 2017, the federal budget, that affected us. You can no longer do an advance refunding. This is a straight, clean refunding. The 2012 money that we're looking at was a prior refunding. That was a prior advance refunding. We're allowed to do a refunding of that.
Okay, but it would be the last refunding for that one, probably?
Hypothetically, because there's only 4 years left on that,
Yeah.
on those notes.
All right.
2 real quick questions. The actual amount of cost that is going to be absorbed by the benefit is approximately how much?
I want to say 150, but let me just look if you would for a second. Discounts 110. Yeah, the cost of issuance is $150,000.
Okay, so 150 to get us $1.5 million thereabouts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the other question, are there any other bonds that this approach might be applicable to at this point?
Not at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate your help, and thank everybody.
Okay, motion to close.
To go out there.